Think about your team right now. Every coach, every front desk person, manager, are there people on that list that if they quit today, you'd secretly feel relieved? And are there people on that list that if they quit, you genuinely panic? So that feeling right there, that's the difference between A and C players. And not knowing which people on your team are A's, B's, and C's can cost you money, time, definitely stress. And so we're going to fix that today. In fact, by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding as to which players in your teams are A's, B's, and C's, and more importantly, what to do next. In fact, I'm even going to give you an easy test that just makes it super simple for you. I'm Mike Arce, host of the Behind Gym Doors podcast and CEO of GSD Gyms. We've worked with over 4,300 gyms worldwide and helped more reach $100,000 a month than probably anybody on the planet, even the ones that thought they couldn't get there. So let's define A, B, and C players before anything else. Okay, so when you look here, we got A, B, and C players, and if C you notice is in red, that's because another way to say C player is red flag. And so just like any other red flag, we got to start paying attention and making sure that this isn't something that we should cut off early. So let's go ahead and dive in here. So what is the difference between an A, B, and C player? I'm going to list out different behavioral types, things that you can easily identify and make it simple. And then at the end, I'm actually going to take you through a series of questions that just make it easy for you to like answer and say, yeah, that's a C player, that's an A player, that's a B player. You'll know right away. And by the way, this is a good video to share with your entire staff so they have an idea, because sometimes a B player operates like a C player because they just don't know. One of the biggest advantages that the gyms that we work with get from coming to our conferences is when they bring their managers and they see the other managers. And when you see the managers of like A-class members, which are all of our gyms that are doing $1 million a year or more, it makes them realize like, wow, there's another level to this. Everyone thinks they're an A player until an A player walks in the room. And then they're like, oh, wow, there's like more I can do. And so sometimes people just aren't aware, and this video can make them a little bit more aware as to what patterns they might be falling into, whether purposefully, but most likely unintentionally, and they just need to change your way of thinking. Okay, so a C player. So a C player typically does the minimum, and honestly, that's questionable. So what do I mean by that? That means if I said, hey, I need you to do this, 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 and this, they will do that, and that, and sometimes they'll even miss some of those if they believe like it's not fireable. So they'll do the minimum. C players are really good at keeping their jobs just long enough. But if the manager is stern enough, they're not. But for most managers, especially of gyms, usually they're a little newer, they get away with a lot. So we're going to just say that they do the bare minimum. Okay, what about a B player? So a B player does what they're told. So what this means is if I say, hey, I need this done and this done and this done, and I need you to find a way to fix this and this, they will do that. They will find a way to get it done because you told them to do it, right? But here's the tricky thing. Sometimes what you asked them to do didn't actually get the result that you wanted. So for example, I need you to make 100 calls a day. Well, they'll make 100 calls, but they might have blown through it just to get it done. And they didn't do their best on the calls. Therefore, they didn't really book as many appointments as they should have, but they got the calls done. They did everything they were asked. There's something interesting about Bs, which it's important we dive into because a B can act like an A, and we're gonna get to that. Okay, an A player will do what's required. That means if you say, hey, I need you to make 100 calls, what you'll find is sometimes an A player won't even make 100 calls. Sometimes they'll make 70. Now you may hear that and be like, well, that sucks. I told them to make 100. Why would they make 70? Because they know what the real purpose is. If they know at the end of the day, we have a goal as an organization to get 30 new members in this month, and they feel like it's necessary for them to take their time or to send video texts or to find a way to work some of the members, get referrals, they might only make 50 or 70 calls, but they booked 15 appointments this week, which allowed them to get 60 people in the door and close, 30 of them. So they really focus on what's required. Sometimes if the manager is a B or a C manager, they will actually steer an A player away because they're like, hey, I told you to do this. And it's like, yeah, but really like this was the best thing to do. We know what the company goals are. So they do the minimum, they do what they're told, they do what's required. So this is around what if A, B, and C players were animals. What animals would they be? Well, the C player would be a dog. I know, I love dogs. Maybe that's a good thing. No, you'll see why not. And then B player would be a horse. And then a C player, or an A player, would be a tiger. So I want you to think of those animals. A dog, let's take salespeople, for example. If you think about C players that you have that are in sales or doing sales, they'll complain about the leads. They'll complain about the quality of the leads, the quantity of the leads, how people aren't showing up, how people are whatever. It doesn't really matter. They complain. If you think about a dog, if you don't feed a dog, what happens? It whines, it whimpers, it begs, and eventually it dies, right? Because it's not going to go solve its own problem. So that's a dog. So a C player is like a dog. You have to constantly feed them, and if you don't feed them good leads, like they will whimper and then eventually die, meaning they'll quit or get fired. Probably get fired because these people don't quit, and you'll see why. Okay, B is horse. If you think about a horse is actually a really great worker, like really good worker, but you got to drive them. You got to tell them what to do. If you don't drive them, they're totally fine just sitting there and grazing all day. And so they need to be managed effectively. Tiger, on the other hand, a tiger kills on instinct. It's a killer. It's what it does. So it'll lay there on a full belly. It just ate. It's good for probably a couple days. But then a bunny walks by its path. And its instincts, it can't help itself. It's got to bat the bunny down, even on a full belly. Well, an A player could hit goal on the 15th of the month. And you'd be like, all right, cool. We can coast now. We're good. Nope. The A player, all they can think about is, I'm on pace to get 200% a goal. Like they're excited about, like, I'm about to double my goal. So this is something that we've used as a visual as well. Tigers, horses, and dogs, who do we have on our team? Now, what I will tell you is it's very difficult to find tigers. And so when you find a tiger, you've got to feed them. They get the best leads. They get all the leads. In fact, the only time these guys get leads is when this guy can't handle the lead because they're working leads, right? But I want to give the ball to the hot hand. I want you to think about this in anything else, because there's a lot of people like confuse fair and equal. Those are two different things. So if I'm the coach of a basketball team, I've got 5 players. They all have the ability to score points. And this guy here he shot 10 shots and he's only made 1. This guy shot 10 shots and he's only made 2. This guy shot 10 shots and he's made 10. Now I need a score. It's the end of the game. Who do you think I'm going to give the ball to? The guy that's made 10, the hot hand. Well, why wouldn't I give it to them? They've only taken 5 each, because it's not about equal. It's not about equality here. It's about fairness. What's fair is this guy, whatever he's been doing, he's done the work to be able to earn the ball, earn the responsibility. Same thing here. If the A player's done the work on the side, whatever it is, to be able to close more of the opportunities and convert them into members, well, the most fair thing is give it to the person that's earned it. Even if, let's say, he's gotten 50 leads this month and these guys only got 10, they're going to complain about their 10. But at the end of the day, I'm feeding the tiger, the guy that can get the deal done. With horse, you want to whip your horses or drive your horses, right? Basically, we're saying we got to manage them. B players are good, and you're going to find more B players than anything else. However, you've definitely got to whip them, or else they'll graze all day. They're totally fine just coasting. Okay, this one I'm worried about saying this because I know there's a lot of like people that are sensitive to certain words, but like we're gonna say it. With dogs, you got to shoot the dogs. You don't really shoot them. I got 3 dogs outside. I love dogs. I have nothing wrong with dogs. So in this analogy specifically, all it's saying is they got to go. C players got to go. They don't do anything but cause stress, toxicity, time, money. So we just got to get them out of there. There's another real reason that you got to get rid of them, and it's what we're going to be talking about next. So let me actually use my white to create a divider here. There we go. Okay. So as mentioned, C players are toxic. I don't even know what they're doing half the time. They're creating challenges and issues for everybody else in the team, and they're also creating challenges and issues for sometimes customers and yourself. They're definitely toxic. Now, let's going to skip over B for a second and go to A. A's are like ladders. They find ways to improve the company. They'll create things that it didn't have where you go, you did this? Yeah. Wow. That's like really useful. Thank you. That's amazing. And they didn't do it because they were told to do it. They did it because they saw a requirement that our company could be better. We could achieve our goals better. We can be able to be more efficient if this thing that I'm about to build exists. So they actually help us go up. They're ladders more than anything else. Now, B players, they're whoever you surround them with. They're very malleable. They're like chameleons. So if you get them around a bunch of C players, you're going to think B's are C's. You're going to confuse them. If you get them around a bunch of A players, they're going to look like A's. You might confuse them too. So B players could be whoever you get them around. Now, you would say, well, how do I know if they're an A or a B? Well, you'll find out in certain situations that are more stressful. Cool thing is, when everything's great, you don't have to know if they're A or B. It doesn't really matter. They're operating like A's or A's, right? But remember how I told you that C's will never quit? I mean, like, it's hard to get rid of them because C's really do the bare minimum, which means, what do you think is harder? Just continuing to do the minimum here or have to go find another job? That sounds like work. To go find another job, apply, interview, go through training, have to show off again. That's a lot more work than just continuing to do the minimum. So C players are really good at not quitting and just kind of lingering and hanging around and doing just enough to not get fired, or maybe even below that line if they feel like the manager's not good at holding people accountable. Now, B, like I said, will do what others do, okay? So if C players start quitting, they'll probably start quitting too. If A players start doing things that are, really innovative and valuable to the company, they'll actually start doing it. But if you get them around C's, people will gravitate to C's. I don't know what it is about them, but C's will just they're dogs, pack animals. Tigers, they're alone. They go on their own, right? So these guys, these B's, if you get them around enough C's, they'll just start being around them. Now, for the A's, if they see there are C's, they quit. They don't want to play with them. They just don't. You see it in sports. You see it in business. If they feel like there's too many of these guys, well, first off, they feel like there's any of these guys on a team that are impeding in their ability to move forward, they'll go, well, I'm not going to let my success, which that's what they want. They want to see progression in their career. I'm not going to let my success be hindered because these guys don't care. That's annoying to them. So they go play in a winning team. Okay. By the way, as we're discussing this is something that a lot of pretty much every gym we work with that's doing $1 million or more a year, they understand. And so we've got this thing that we built up because now we've got almost every one of our gyms that are doing $1 million a year. They're actually doing more than $100,000 a month. And so we built this thing called the 100K plan. And if you go to 100kplan.com, you'll actually be able to be taken to that video that really breaks down wherever level you're at now. If you're doing 15K a month or 30K a month or 80K a month, or maybe you're already doing 100K and you want to see what that next level is, this helps you know how to get from wherever you're at to 100K a month and beyond. So definitely check out that video when you get a chance. Okay, what's next? This is really around accountability. So C players and B players will never tell on anyone except for A's. They're really good at showing what an A player is not doing right. Hey, could you believe he did that? Could you believe he did that? The reason they like getting the A's in trouble because the light's on the A's. Everyone knows the A's are good and they don't like it. Now, keep in mind, this is if you have a lot of C's because the B's are going to play like the C's. So I put that in there because the C's will draw the B's in, but they will never tell on each other. They're really good at having each other's back. But if the A does something, they find a way to bring it up, even if it's passive aggressively, to highlight that. However, the A's will hold everyone accountable, including themselves, by the way. But they'll hold everyone accountable. And they'll do it like this. If you're the one on the team, hey, did you make the calls that you're supposed to make today? No, not yet. Brother, we got to make the calls, man. It's already like 4 o'clock. What are you doing? That's how they'll communicate with a peer-to-peer. Or if they see that the kettlebells weren't put back the way that it was defined as this is the way we do it here. Hey, what was that? What? Put the kettlebells back, right, bro? Come on, let's go. Put it back. And so you'll see them hold people accountable, including themselves. So if they put the kettle back wrong, All of a sudden somebody goes, or the kettlebell back wrong, somebody goes, hey man, why'd you do it like that? Oh dude, that's my bad. That's on me. You're right. They're very good at being held accountable, and they're very good at holding others accountable. Not because they want to be control freaks or bosses or anything like that, but because they want to win. And just like anybody else, when you see an athlete like a Kobe Bryant grab someone by the jersey and say, pick it up, let's go, it's because he cares about winning. He knows the whole team wins if we do the right things right. Okay? All right. Next thing, let's talk about what it's like to find these people. Okay? Well, unfortunately, A's are very rare. They're usually already working somewhere, and if you do get a chance to get them, you got to pour into them because they're very, very rare to find. So don't expect to build a team full of A's. That's a very difficult task. I don't even know if I've met a team that's full of A's yet. It'd just be so hard to build. However, if you're able to get B's and get them around an A or two, B's are more common, well, then you can have a bunch of people that are operating at an A level because the A's are holding the standard and the B's are working like the A's. And this is why it's important to eliminate the C's, because they will bring down the standard and the B's might sway that way. C's, on the other hand, very saturated. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of C's. These are people, again, they'll kind of do the minimum and they'll complain and they'll wonder why the world isn't accommodating to their needs, because if the world did, then everybody would see how awesome their life could be. Okay, so let's go through the quiz. How do we know? We're gonna call this quiz mode here. Quiz. Okay, so how do we know if we have A players, B players, or C players? Well, this already helped you kind of start to identify them, but these are some questions that you can ask. Question number 1. If they quit, how would you feel? Would you feel excited? Would you feel relieved? Then you got a C player. And we've all known that feeling, right? Where somebody, you've already been complaining about them, you've been thinking about them, you talk to your wife or your husband about them, and you're like, I just don't know with this person, what do I do? You're stressed about it, and then all of a sudden they go, hey, I think I want to put in my 2-week notice. Or you get an email, hey, I'm resigning. And then you go, look, she quit. You're excited. That was a C. If you feel that way, I want you to think of all the people on your team right now. If you got an email or a text from any of those people and they said today's their last day, they're quitting, if any of those you're kind of like, that would actually feel kind of good, that would actually be relieving, that's C player. So just begin the process, okay? Now, B's, if they quit, you'd be annoyed. You'd be like, man, they could have done better, man. I don't know why they quit. Like, they were actually pretty good. If they just did this or if they just did that, it's like, I don't know why they couldn't just figure it out, right? That would be a B. You're not like, oh, I'm so glad. You're more like, oh, that's frustrating. We poured a lot into them. I feel like they could have done really well, okay? A's, you would be like really upset. Maybe a panic. Some of you might even say, I'd probably go home and cry, right? That's the one where you see the email and you go, no. That. So think about your people on your team. Which one of these people would bring up these emotions? And whichever one brings up these emotions, you have an idea if there might be an A, B, or C. Okay, the next question is really about numbers. The numbers, the metrics in the business that we use in order to measure success. A players, oh, they know them. You can go up to an A player right now and be like, hey, how are we doing with leads right now? Like, yeah, we're like at 100 right now, so we're on pace for like 180. They just know. A B player, they can find out. Hey, so how many leads are we at right now? I don't know. Here, let me find out real quick. That's them, because they're not thinking about it all day, right? They're just doing what they got to do. C player, no clue. How many leads are we at? Oh, I don't know. That's the response you get. So you could ask all of your people right now some metrics that you think they should know based on their job, and you say, hey, where are we at with this right now? They got it. They're an A player. Let me find out. They're a B player. Oh, I don't know. They're a C player. Now, keep in mind, you could also have a C system living Meaning if you don't have a system designed to help them really understand what they should know, you never told them, that might be more on you than on them, but just something to keep in mind. If you built that system, that's different. Okay, next. Problems. I want you to pay attention the next time your people come with a problem, or maybe you could think back to the last time they came back to you with a problem. So with an A player, they're really going to come with a solution or an idea. Meaning, hey, so we got a problem. This and this happened, but I have an idea on how I can fix it. Or, hey, just so you know, we had a big problem this morning. This and this happened, but I had it under control. We got it done. All set. Don't worry about it. But I just wanted to let you know. So that's an A player. We're going to skip B for a second because it's important. And we're going to go to C. A C is going to be the middleman between the discovery of the problem and you. So it's going to look like this. Hey, we got a problem. This just happened. What do you want me to do here? What would you like me to do here? How would you like me to handle this? So that's what a C player is going to do. A B player is going to do whatever you got around them. So if the culture around the business right now is we don't bring problems, we bring solutions, then that's what the B player is going to do. But even if you have that system, the C player is going to break system because that takes effort. Remember, they do the minimum, right? Coming up with a solution that's not in their job description. So they're going to do the minimum, okay? And then the last thing is going to be around the way they think, okay? By the way, before I do this last one here, I don't know if you guys have read this book yet. It's called The Standard Is You. You can actually go to Amazon right now and get copies of this, but every employee on your team should read this book. The gyms that we work with, they pretty much make it a staple where when a new employee starts, they get them a book, and this is part of their homework, their onboarding, okay? It'll make your people better employees, and it'll make your business a better business. Okay, so the difference is in how they think, okay? A players think like owners. They don't want to waste time because they see that as like, that's our company time. They don't want to make a mistake that costs money because they're like, that's our money, right? So they're thinking like it's their money, like it's their business, like it's their reputation. B players think like employees. So they're more like, how does this affect me, right? So if, let's say, the company loses money, they're like, oh, I didn't know, I didn't realize, right? If it costs the company time or reputation, they're like, oh man, that stinks. Yeah, I could see how we wouldn't want to do that, right? But the A players are like really upset. Like, they're like, how do we let that happen, right? C players think like victims. It's always something that has nothing to do with them. They're always outward facing. So if they do something wrong, well, it was good intentions, and if this was in place, it wouldn't happen. If they did something right, doesn't happen too often, but it did something right, well then they feel like they didn't get as much credit as they deserved, or it should have happened a long time ago, or so they always operated. So these are the differences. I want you to think about how your employees think, how they deal with problems, do they know their numbers, and how you would feel if they quit. Think about these different patterns here and determine who on your player. What might be a really good exercise for you to do is actually just make a list and just go A, B, and C, and have spaces, have names for each person, and then just ask these questions and say, okay, yeah, where do they stand? And this one's an A, this one's an A, this one's a B, this one's a C, this one's a B, this one's a C, and just kind of go down the list. But decide on who's there and then begin the next step of your process. Who needs to go? Who needs to possibly be replaced? Now, what I will tell you is if you settle for C's because you like them and you think they're nice people and all that stuff, just know that the C's are going to be able to go get a job and be a C somewhere else, number one. But what I want you to think about is that A player that actually you haven't met yet, so it's hard for you to imagine them, but that A player that is amazing, that you and them would have the best relationship in the world. They would care about your business probably more than anybody in the world. Your members would love them. Your staff would love them. They would literally change your business. Ooh, but they can't get a job at your company. You know why? Positions taken by a C player. Now, again, because we don't think about that player, we don't do anything about it. But I want you to think about the A player that you have right now, the one that you're like, I love them. And then think about the person that was in their seat before, that you were probably upset that they left or however that went down. And now you're like, oh, it's so much better. She's the best. She's way better. This worked out great. You're missing out on that feeling in that C spot because you're hanging on to that C player, okay? All right, Remember to go to 100kplan.com. Also, make sure you subscribe. We got a lot more of these videos coming on, and a combination between me teaching some stuff as well as me literally going behind gym doors and showing you how things work behind some of the more successful gyms that we get to work with. All right, see you next time.